All right, good day, folks. I'm here to bring you a very important update on VeChain because we're in a wedge pattern. We're forming a bunch of different patterns here. I know there's a bunch of different lines, but don't you worry. I'm going to explain what this means. We're in an apex. We're getting squeezed tighter and tighter into a tighter range. We're likely to see a big move with VeChain here in the near future. So in this video, I want to discuss some potential price targets, some major important technical factors that you guys need to be aware of in order to understand what the next move is with VeChain. Also mention a macro news stories that you guys need to be aware of. And just because I like you guys so much, I'm going to bring you guys a low cap gem that I've been dollar cost averaging my way into that I think deserves to be on your radar. A low cap gem that I've been talking about on our VIP Discord group. Folks, if you want to join our VIP Discord, you get access through our Patreon. Link for that is down in the description below, where we talk about low cap gems, very interesting setups, and we just, talk to our Discord members regularly as well. Once we get to 100 Patreon members, we're going to be finding an aMillionortheMoon recording studio. We'll hopefully, once we do that, we'll be able to pump out much more content for you guys. So please, if you want to support us, become a VIP Discord member, join our Patreon. Link for that is down in the description below. So without further ado, let's delve into what's happening here with VeChain. So if we form if we just draw a line from these two wicks and just extend it, this gets us a red resistance sign. If we draw a green line by these two wicks here and just extend it, that gives us a green support line. So what does this show us? If my phone has something to say here as well. But never mind my phone, what does the chart tell us? Folks, we're getting squeezed tighter and tighter in this range. We're entering this apex. We're likely to see a breakout from this micro wedge, I'd say within the next day or two with VeChain here. So we're forming that micro wedge. Also, perhaps a bit of a more macro wedge if we consider these top two wicks and just extend that. Or we could be forming an even more macro descending triangle. Whatever way you call this pattern, whatever pattern is currently the most valid, we are in this micro wedge, and we are likely to break out of this thing in the near future here. Now, there's a lot of lines, but don't you worry, we're going to continue to simplify this and break this down. One of the key support levels that we need to look out for in the short term to try and understand whether we could expect a move to the upside or the downside with VeChain is the 21 exponential moving average on the 6 hour, this blue line here. We can see that I find this exponential moving average is very helpful for identifying kind of short-term trends and support and resistance levels. We can see how in the short term here, as soon as we drop below the 21 EMA on the 6 hour, it constantly acted as resistance, and as soon as we got above it, acted as support. We can see here, once price action was above it, continuously acting as support. So I believe this is a very good exponential moving average for kind of understanding the short term. And more macro, more long term, I believe the 200 EMA on the 6 hour is better for identifying kind of those macro potential support levels. If we zoom out a bit here, we can see that the 200 EMA on the 6 hour continually acted as the bedrock of support for VeChain. So an eventual retest of this SMA would be a great buy the dip opportunity if what happened in the past has any bearing on what could happen in the future. Obviously, we could retest it and fall down. None of this is a guarantee, folks, but historically, this has been a very important support level, a very relevant support level for VeChain. So let's say we start to break down from this thing. Then I think it makes it far more likely that we retest the lower extremities of this wedge, perhaps the VP0 point of control here at around 18 cents, just above 18 cents. There's a lot of volume in those regions. That's kind of like very short-term price targets, but I think retesting the 3-2 is probably the most likely if we start to break down bearishly. And if we break down from this EMA, the 3-2 Fibonacci retracement is drawn from the very macro bottom to all-time highs, and these fib levels are likely to be very relevant. So if we break down bearishly, I think we're probably retesting that 3-2, and if that doesn't hold the support, probably these regions here at around 16 cents. We can see here we kind of got wicked off of these regions quite a few times, kind of a price reactive zone. So I think that VPVR point of control, this fib level at just about 17 cents, just over 17 cents, and this level right here at 16 cents are short-term price targets. And then if that doesn't hold, I think retesting the 200 EMA on the 6 hour is probably the most likely. So those are kind of four levels. 200 EMA on the 6 hour, 16 cent around this region, the 382 fib level, and this VP point of control are my four bearish price targets for VeChain if we start to break down bearishly from this wedge. Let's say we start to break out bullishly. Let's say we start to retest the upper extremities of this wedge line here. Well, if we start to break out bullishly, I think we're probably likely to find resistance at this trend line and at this fib level here, the 236. If we can flip this trend line from resistance and this fib level from resistance into support and breakout bullishly, I think retesting all-time highs becomes a lot more likely. And something we can do here is we can take the height of our wedge, move it to a potential breakout point, and could that take us to 35-cent VeChain? Perhaps over the long term, I think it could. Now, just to mention a kind of news story that's very interesting to see. So the VeChain Foundation has announced a $1 million grant program that they will be giving away to the community for programmers and projects that are looking to expand VeChain's NFT ecosystem. Very, very interesting here. So projects looking to create new decentralized applications, tools for testing, tools for development for developers, infrastructure, interoperability, bridges, wallets, that kind of thing. Just kind of further expand the NFT ecosystem on VeChain can be potentially given up to a 30K grant from the VeChain Foundation. So very interesting to see. It's always good to see when a project is trying to incentivize and help out their own ecosystem grow and developers develop on it. So very bullish to see, just a bullish catalyst that the VeChain Foundation is active and they're working on developing their ecosystem. I'm very bullish on VeChain long term. Folks, I'm pretty sure I put VeChain in a top 3 video for my top 2021 performers. Back when it was, I don't even know, I think like 2 cents, maybe around 2 cents. So VeChain's done like about a 10x since then. So folks, do me that favor, like, subscribe, comment, and share, hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. Now, something we can look at and follow to try and understand and perhaps gauge what way we'll be breaking out. Will we break down bearishly? Will we break out bullishly? What's the next big move for VeChain? Following the VeChain Bitcoin pairing will be very telling for understanding what way we break out bullishly, because on the VeChain Bitcoin pairing, we're also forming a wedge. We're also forming a descending triangle. We're getting squeezed here, nearing an apex. Whatever way we break out of this wedge will be very telling for trying to understand and gauge what direction we break out with the US dollar value of VeChain here. So if we start to break down bearishly, probably going to retest this level here at about 332. I'm not going to count all those decimals, but basically understanding if we break out bullishly or bearishly from this pattern here will be very important for understanding what direction, whether bullish or bearish, we break out from this chart here. So again, we'll let you guys know if anything interesting happens on this channel and in our Discord group. Link to join that will be down in the description below. If we start to break out bullishly, if we can get above this white trend line and start making new higher highs, that's going to be one factor that helps VeChain break out bullishly and perhaps retest all-time highs. If we start to break down bearishly from this wedge here, if we start to break down bearishly from this line here, then that's probably going to lead to VeChain testing some of those previous support levels that I mentioned before. And of course, it's always important to follow and understand what Bitcoin is doing, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin leads the market. Whatever it does will have an effect on the rest of the market. If Bitcoin decides to dump tomorrow, that's going to affect VeChain. Same thing with Ethereum. Ethereum is right up against significant resistance, so we could potentially anticipate some kind of rejection, especially after an impulse here. Whenever we impulse, you know what happens next. A retracement is probably due, especially once we're up against resistance. So if we start to see a pullback with Bitcoin and Ethereum over the next day or two, that could be a factor that puts the dampers on VeChain. So that's just something to be aware of. Now, before this video gets too long, I also want to mention to you guys Charrli3, C3. So this is a project that launched on CardStarter, another project that I've been shilling, and it did like a 2x after I started shilling it. CardStarter is a launchpad for the Cardano ecosystem, and Charrli3 C3 here was the first project that launched on their project. What Charrli3 is a Oracle for the Cardano ecosystem here. So something very interesting with this thing, we're just forming a wedge. We're forming a wedge here. We're getting squeezed tighter and tighter within a more narrow range. We're likely to see a breakout with this thing within the next half day, I'd say so. Whatever way we break out of this thing is going to be very explosive in my opinion, because if we break out bullishly, I think retesting all-time highs becomes very likely. If we break down bearishly, I think retesting some of these ranges over here becomes far more likely. So again, let's take the height of our wedge here, perhaps get more of an exact price target. Again, depending where we break out of, this could affect potential bullish or bearish price targets. But let's say, we break down bearishly. I think maybe finding support at these regions at the very least would probably be like some conservative to hope for. I think maybe retesting the 618, the golden pocket, makes a lot more sense if we break down bearishly. And if we break out bullishly here, let's just say, you know, you can flip that 336 from resistance to support. Could we see all-time highs and perhaps higher, maybe $1.60? I think so. So keep a close eye on Charrli3. I got myself a little bag of this thing as well. You know, I've been talking about this with our VIP Discord members. You can check that out through our Patreon. Link for everything is down in the description below. Okay, I'll wrap it up here, folks. If you like this video, do me that favor. Like, subscribe, comment, and share, and hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. Let me know what you think about VeChain. Do you agree with my TA? Do you not? Let me know what you guys want us to do TA on next. So leave the comments down below. We read all of them. So thank you so much for watching, folks. Until next time, take care.